Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. I got this question, and I get this question actually a lot dealing with client server, warehouse management systems, ERPs, SAP, WMS modules, etc., basis. So I wanted to make this video. I had a customer, actually colleague, a friend asked me, they've got a Scorpio Datalogic RF device. So this could relate to anything, whether you have an intermec, a symbol, the Intermex CK3s, CK5, CK71s, the MC9200s. Can I connect it to a WMS and will it work running, whatever software you're running, whether you're running 5250 emulation, whether you're running SAP, etc. So majority of these client server communication devices or RF handhelds, mobile devices, whether it's running Android or Windows Mobile or Windows CE on older devices, pretty much they do the same thing. They connect to some kind of telnet server, whether it's an AS400, like I said, or a Windows Server and Oracle database connecting on a telnet session. So I'm going to open up. This is called Staylinked, and Staylinked is a great piece of software because a lot of customers don't realize that if you create a direct telnet session to your server, telnet is best effort basis. It's not a protocol that is going to hold the emulation or hold the session and maintain it. The reason why you have a client server interaction or a middleware or a piece of software like Staylinked, whether it's Staylinked or Wavelink. Wavelink is the Motorola Zebra software, or ITE. The reason why you have a controller in the middle is to maintain your sessions. Because if your warehouse workers are roaming around the office and there's no telnet server in the middle of your session, like your session is going to drop. And what's going to happen to the RF handheld and the mobile picker is they're going to be presented with a login screen. So let's say they are picking 1,000 orders, those 1,000 orders, they lose a connection for a quick second. Those sessions or those pick sessions are lost. Okay, replenishment, put away, etc. And that's why you need something like Staylinked or ITE or Wavelink, something in the middle that'll handle your session, and that's called session persistency. Session persistency is a big term in WMS in warehouses just because you don't want your drop sessions. And that's why a lot of people go with something like a managed service with companies that run Staylinked like ours. So I'm a consultant. I've been using Staylinked for probably about maybe 15 years, maybe 14 years roughly. So let me give you an overview and an example here. So here's an image that I found, a simple diagram for a WMS. So let's say this is your warehouse management system over here. You have your mobile device, whether it's a Datalogic Skorpio X5. So your Datalogic Skorpio X5 will work with Staylinked. And I'm going to get back into the keyboard maps, etc. for Staylinked. So let's say you're a reseller and you've got multiple partners that you want to connect your Skorpio X5 into your server or into your middleware. What you can do, let's say you're not using Staylinked, what you're going to do is you're going to install whatever emulator you have, your application. Your application is going to sit on this Skorpio X5 or an MC9200 or an MC9000. And this is your WMS here, your warehouse management system. Your handheld is going to create a wireless connection over this Wi-Fi network directly into the WMS system. Now, let's say it's browser based, it's a different story. If you're running 5250, then it's my recommendation is you run something like Staylinked. If you're running a web UI, then it's a little different because you can have a remote ID session with a little bit of persistency, but you'll have a little bit of lag depending on how everything is set up. It all depends on your backbone, your infrastructure, your Wi-Fi, the VLANs, etc. So that's how you set it up. The Skorpio X5, you create a direct telnet session to the box. And pretty much this is a hope and pray technique if you don't have something in the middle like this. And this is why they show this example here. The pieces that go together with a Staylinked server and session is you have a Staylinked server here in the middle. It can reside on the AS400. So let's say we're talking about an AS400 server. The Staylinked server gets installed, the software gets installed on the 5250 server. Okay. And then you have a console. So the Staylinked console can sit on an administrator, whether you're a warehouse manager, a supervisor, an IT professional. The Staylinked server is going to sit on your PC, your laptop, etc. It doesn't need high power requirements. it's going to look like this. You start up the Staylinked administrator software, and you get to see everything, like a tree interface of everything. So now, let's say this is a Skorpio X5. The Skorpio X5 is going to communicate wirelessly over to the WMS, which has the Staylinked server installed. And you're going to manage the keyboard, the shortcuts, the field exit keys, the tab keys. Let's say on the Skorpio X5, you've got a yellow button that it's doing a field exit, but you want it to do a tab. Within the Staylinked administrator over here, they're called keyboard maps, and you could modify the keyboard map. So let's say you've got 100 clients out there, different warehouses. You can program each device to behave a different way as long as you got in a proper group. Now, let's say you want to keep everything standard across the board. You would just set up a device group with those keyboard maps, and you just rename the keyboard maps and make sure that if this IP address on that VLAN comes into this network, we're going to give them this keyboard map because we recognize you on that VLAN, etc. So this is where you set up the keyboard maps. And the beauty of Staylinked, and I'm going to say this as a last, I'm going to cut off the video before it gets too long. The beauty of Staylinked is you're not device dependent, and it also works on concurrent users. So let's say you've got, per shift, you only have 20 employees that are running your WMS guns, but only 10 of them working. So you might only need 10 devices or licenses because it's concurrent. So you don't have to buy a full 20, even though you have 20 devices. Maybe they're for backup, maybe they're for outside picking, etc. So you only need a specific amount for the concurrent users. And the last part is, like I mentioned, Staylinked is not device dependent. It works on majority of Android devices. So whether you have a mixed population of Motorola, Zebra, Intermec, or the popular ones like Datalogic, it doesn't matter. You can add the device keyboard map. It will automatically detect. Then you just assign it to specific subnets or groups, and it connects. And this is how it'll connect. Like I mentioned before, you have the Staylinked or the Datalogic Skorpio X5. It communicates wirelessly over the network to the AS400. The Staylinked server maintains all those sessions. And within the Staylinked console, this is where your warehouse managers or your supervisors in the warehouse monitor those sessions. They don't necessarily need to monitor the sessions, but let's say something is stuck in picking or the SKU is wrong. They could do actually a voice session. The Staylinked administrator or supervisor can log into that gun remotely if they're far away and edit a SKU, edit the number, take control of it, or transfer that device to another device. So that's it for the video. If you have any questions, I can be reached with the details below, or come visit our website, www.innovativedigitalgroup.com, and I'll see you in the next video.